Bart, I'll start with you. Once and for all, who's going to be the Steelers starting quarterback week 1?
Greeny, I've been saying it all offseason. It's going to be Russell Wilson. But that doesn't mean that Russell Wilson will finish the season as their starter. I think at some point we're going to see Justin Fields. But in my mind, it's easier to go from Russell to the kid.
All right, we will hear from Brooke Pryor live from Pittsburgh a little later this morning. Harry, I'm coming to you next. Burning question number 2. Will Brandon Ayuk remain with the 49ers and play for them this season?
Greeny, I'm going to say yes. The 49ers have kind of hit pause for the cause. What's that cause? When you look at the Super Bowl window and how Brandon Ayuk is an integral piece to that, you say to yourself, can we just plug somebody in currently and have the same production that Brandon Ayuk gives our football team and also provides our young quarterback? I'll answer the question. That's no.
Absolutely. He's got a good WAR. He's got wins above replacement. Meanwhile, D-Wood, let's go to the Cowboys. Are they going to get CD and Dak signed before the season starts?
You
Both?
said and?
Both of them?
You said and?
Both?
Oh, I said and.
No, we're not doing both of them. No. No. Listen, they need CD. They're going to get CD. But Dak would be a fool to sign a contract right now when you're months away from unrestricted free agency. So the answer is no.
Okay, well, we have been waiting a long time because when we think of the Cowboys, let me tell you this. I walked into about 40 NBA, well, there aren't 40. I walked into like 25 NBA arenas with Stephen A. Smith over the years that I was doing the NBA. And in NBA arenas, they yell Cowboys at him, okay? So everyone in America was waiting for Steve to come back yesterday from vacation and offer his thoughts on Jerry Jones and his definition of the term all in. And Stephen A. did not disappoint.
Did it ever occur to anybody that the time has arrived where we could legitimately ask, what is Jerry Jones' definition of winning? Is it headlines? Is it that you're worth $10 billion? Is it that you're winning back pages? When you look at the Cowboys, because of the quote-unquote mismanagement, it appears to make no sense unless if you're Jerry Jones and they talking about my Cowboys, then that pub does make sense. That might be, one could legitimately ask, and that's my buddy, but I could look him in the face and ask him to his face, is your definition of a championship winning headlines? Because at this point, that's what appears to be the case.
It's an interesting take. D, what is it fair?
It's absolutely fair. Greeny, we talked about on this show about the Dallas Cowboys and the fact they've gone 12-5 3 straight years, but they're spending, which is like at the bottom of the league.
Yes.
Like when we talk about all in, I look at, okay, what are some of your competitors doing all in? We saw what the San Francisco 49ers did when they traded for Christian McCaffrey. Would you quantify that as an all in?
All in, absolutely.
Okay, what about the Philadelphia Eagles when they traded for A.J. Brown and then they signed Saquon Barkley this offseason? Would you quantify those moves as all in?
All in.
And so what are the Dallas Cowboys doing, to try to combat what those rivals in the NFC are doing?
Nothing.
That, to me, that's why I agree with Stephen A. 100% in this. We got to start thinking like, what is Jerry Jones like all in, really? Because as a marketer, that dude is the absolute GOAT at marketing the brand of the Dallas Cowboys. But if we're talking strictly on the football field, can we honestly sit here and say that the Dallas Cowboys are all in to winning a championship?
No, they're underachievers. Because the Chiefs have the same amount of wins basically in the same time frame that you're talking about, the 12-5, and yet we're looking at 2 Super Bowls in that time. 3, excuse me. So when I think of the Cowboys, all I see is underachievement. And I know people want to talk about Dak. Oh, he's not a dog. Oh, how are they going to win with him? We've been waiting for the Cowboys to get back to the relevancy that we knew from the 90s. That's 30 years ago. We have football fans that now are alive and haven't even seen when Emmett and
Troy
and like all those great guys and I think we call them America's team because of the guys from the past, and like this team each year, it's like you want to blame Dak, fine, but Jerry's been the constant, and that to me is the frustrating thing because they garner so much attention, so much money, and showing for what? What do they produce?
The example you use is a great one because the Chiefs keep on winning. The example you use is a great one because the Eagles and the 49ers have been to a total of 4 Super Bowls in the last, whatever it is, 8 years since that first one with Doug Peterson and Nick Foles when they beat Brady. Harry, get in here. What is it? Is Stephen A.'s question / criticism fair?
1000% fair. And on our radio show, Freddie and Harry, me and Freddie talk about this all the time when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys and the circus that goes on amongst that organization. And I want y'all to look at the last 10 teams that had the ability to win a Super Bowl. And I want you to compare those owners to Jerry Jones and tell me if you see any of those owners between the Patriots, the Chiefs, the Rams, the Buccaneers, the Philadelphia Eagles. Do you see the same things go on with those owners that you see with Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys? Now, I'll answer that question for everyone as well. That answer is no. But look at the NFC East. When you look at the division, look at what the Washington Commanders did in free agency. And I understand they may have had a little bit more money than everyone else, but still, they made moves. They went out and got Austin Eckler, Tyler Biadasz. They got Bobby Wagner. The New York Giants went and traded for Brian Burns. The Philadelphia Eagles went and got Saquon Barkley. So when you hear Jerry Jones say all in and you barely make any moves, it questions, is he just talking about merchandise, being relevant? But here's a news flash for everybody. What if the Dallas Cowboys actually got to a Super Bowl or won one? That $10 billion that the franchise is worth will probably be worth $15 or $16 billion. That's reality of the situation.
Together, a team good enough to win all of these games. Is it Jerry Jones's fault that they couldn't stop the run last year, particularly against Green Bay? Is it Jerry Jones's fault that Dak looked like, and let's say it, a deer in headlights in that playoff game against Green Bay last year? He's put together rosters good enough to compete every single year, and they fall short in the playoffs. Is that the owner's fault?
So why did he keep Mike McCarthy? They could have made it.
Who had a sleepover and hired Mike McCarthy?
Why keep
Jason Garrett?
Why keep Mike McCarthy then? If you felt like that was a true embarrassment that happened in Jerry's world when the Green Bay Packers ran roughshod over the Dallas Cowboys, you had an opportunity. You had an opportunity to switch, but you
want to run it back with the same pieces.
Running back with the same guys.
Mm-hmm.
So again, to me, are you really all in?
Are you all in?
Are you all in, Jerry Jones?
Harry, go ahead.
Yeah, now I also got to say this, right? Because we all got to keep it real as well. Now, Jerry Jones has played his part, but I also believe coaches and players have played their part. So there's two components to this whole, soiree that we have going on in Dallas and that organization. Jerry Jones plays his part, the coaches play their part, the players play their part in not having the postseason success when we talk about the Dallas Cowboys.
Look, Jerry Jones, there are a number of different ways that one can measure success. Stephen A. is talking about things in which Jerry Jones has been more successful than any owner I can think of in American sports, perhaps since George Steinbrenner. At the very height of George, and I'm probably talking to a lot of people who don't even know what I mean.
Right.
But George Steinbrenner in the 70s was the owner of the New York Yankees, and he got every bit as much, if not more, attention than Jerry Jones does now. No owner in sports has operated that way since Jerry, and it has worked. He now owns a business that is worth over $10 billion. He has revolutionized the way the NFL is marketed, and he is in the Hall of Fame, which very few other owners are and deserves to be. The question is, however, is he willing to go the extra mile? Is he willing to take the extra step that you're talking about when it comes to the actual cash spending, when it comes to the fact that for whatever reason, his team, which he bought for $140 million and is now worth $10 billion, every single season winds up ranking at or very near the bottom in terms of total cash spending. That's the part that doesn't seem congruent with each other. It is confusing to understand how those go together.
I'm going to say something right now.
Go.
Is Jerry Jones willing to make people in the organization uncomfortable? No. Is Jerry Jones willing to make people in the organization uncomfortable? Because when I look at the Dallas Cowboys, I see a lot of guys very comfortable, podcasts, this, that. I'm not saying that guys can't do podcasts and all that type of stuff, but I see a lot of guys comfortable with the star on their helmet. And when you're comfortable, okay, you get complacent. Okay, 12-5 might be all right. You might have your endorsements and all that type of stuff, but at the end of the day, that's not gonna get you a championship. Just not. So is Jerry Jones willing to make people uncomfortable? I don't think that's been the case in 30 years since the Dallas Cowboys won championships in the 90s.
So maybe this is the summer of uncomfortable. Maybe that's why you go into a season with a coach who doesn't have a contract and a quarterback who doesn't have a contract and CeeDee Lamb, however it is they're playing it.